Vicente Fox, thanks for joining me on UpFront. Many people have rightly compared Donald Trump to all sorts of awful figures. They've called him a bigot, a xenophobe, an Islamophobe. But you've compared him to Adolf Hitler. Is he really a Hitler-like figure in your view, someone capable of sending millions of people into concentration camps or even gas chambers?
Well, what we hear from him, his message, his wording of the message is certainly the same one that Hitler used to get in love his followers. Soft as he was, all of a sudden he becomes the horrible man and leader that he was. I see Mr. Trump as a false prophet. He's going to take that great nation to the desert, to hunger, because his economic knowledge is extremely poor, because he doesn't understand what training is all about. Of course, nothing about diplomacy and the way you treat other human beings. He's been offending most everybody, the Mexicans in the United States, the Mexicans in Mexico, the Pope, the Muslims, the women, the immigrants, and so on and on. So yes, that's what comes to my mind when I listen to him, so arrogant, so ego-centered, so vain, and empty in his head.
And are you worried then, if you're worried about him being on this kind of Hitler-like journey or evolution, how worried are you then about the physical safety and security of Hispanics, of Mexicans living in the United States under a Donald Trump presidency? There are claims already that anti-immigrant rhetoric in recent years have led to a rise in hate crimes against Hispanics in the United States. Are you worried about what will happen to them under a Donald Trump presidency?
Well, the thing is, this violent way of speaking, this xenophobic and discriminatory speech is creating violence within the same United States. And yes, it can reach up to a level of a conflict because he's divided now not only the Republican Party, he's divided the nation itself. He's divided the people in different parts of the states. His attitude of the supreme white race and all brown and Afro-Americans and everybody else is insignificant to him. I think he is showing evil and what in the future he can become.
You said the supreme white race, you said in reference to Trump. Do you believe that he thinks whites are superior to others? Do you believe he's a racist himself?
Absolutely, yes. Every word that he says goes in that direction.
You said in an interview last week that you, as a Mexican citizen, refused to pay for Trump's wall. You used a rather provocative four-letter word for it. Donald Trump's not happy with you. He's since demanded that you apologize for swearing in relation to him and his signature policy. Will you say sorry to the man who's likely to be the official Republican nominee for President of the United States?
Well, who really needs to apologize is him, to all the people he has offended, especially my dear Mexican migrants in the United States, which are heroes, which make an enormous contribution to that economy. Who would be picking up the apples in Washington State? Who would be harvesting the fields in California? Who would be doing the service work in the restaurants, in the kitchens? Who will be serving the own homes of the American wealthy class, and even himself? He has hired undocumented, he has hired in his home migrants, and so it's absolutely inconsistent what he is saying and showing.
And if he does become president of the United States, what do you think the Mexican government's response should be? Would you advocate withdrawing diplomatic ties in protest or banning him from entering Mexico, as some Mexico City legislators proposed only this week? What do you think Mexican government should officially do?
is not what Mexico is going to do, is what United States is going to lose. For instance, he says he's going to build a wall and go into a trade war with Mexico. He's not understanding that by trading, we both win. But either he's not understanding that Mexico buys from United States every year millions of US dollars. This means millions of jobs for US citizens. Where is he going to replace that market and sell those products? It's very stupid what he's saying. He says he's going to tax automobiles manufactured in Mexico coming into United States. I mean, what is the consumer of a car will say when the car price increases 20%? I think the civilized world, the East, the West, Europe, Asia, Middle East, we all would have a very united front in front of craziness, in front of a guy moving out of the regular situations that prevail in the world. So I don't worry about that.
You've said Trump should drop out of the race and go back to his business. You're a former businessman too. How do you rate Trump as a businessman? Because there are some serious issues, serious questions, not just about his politics, but about some of his businesses, aren't there?
Well, number one, he didn't make the amount of money that he's got. He inherited. So he's a junior. Number two, who knows how he has made so much money, but certainly he has hired undocumented. He has he took to bankruptcy a casino and many other things. It's very difficult to understand how he made so much money.
There are some who suggest that the reason so many Mexicans have moved to the United States, both legally and illegally over the past 2 decades, is because they have no future at home. There are no decent jobs or prospects for them there. During your 6 years in office, you wanted to create 6 million jobs, I believe, but you created just 1.4 million. The Wall Street Journal has pointed out that, quote, during each year of Mr. Fox's presidency, between 400,000 and 700,000 illegal immigrants arrived in the U.S. from Mexico. The number of illegal immigrants from Mexico was roughly equal to the number of jobs Mr. Fox did not create.
Well, I mean, what do you want me to say? Yes, that was the situation then, but nothing and nobody in Mexico, any president has done what we did with the Mexican economy. We transformed it. Today, the fundamentals of Mexican economy are absolutely great. And this is why we're navigating on this crisis, worldwide crisis, this drop in oil prices with success. Mexico is growing this year over 3%. Very few nations can say that in the world. So Mexico has a very privileged position. And what we have to do is tear off walls and build up bridges. This is what Trump has to understand.
Vicente Fox, thank you so much for joining me on UpFront.
No, thank you, sir. A pleasure and good luck to you.